August 27th, 2019. Inside the jet-powered North American Eagle, Jessi Combs, racer, metal fabricator, and fearless trailblazer, prepared to push the limits of speed one final time. Her mission? To become the fastest woman on Earth. Jessi wasn't new to danger. Her entire life had been a high-speed pursuit, challenging expectations in male-dominated industries, breaking barriers in motorsports, and inspiring countless others with her relentless drive. But on that stretch of desert, what began as a history-making attempt ended in unthinkable tragedy. Before we revisit the final moments of Jessi's last run, we need to understand the woman behind the wheel, her journey, her passion, and what it truly meant to chase greatness at full throttle. This is the story of Jessi Combs, her rise, her legacy, and the moment that changed everything. Jessi Combs was born on July 27, 1980, in Rapid City, South Dakota, a place where the wide-open landscapes mirrored the endless possibilities she saw for herself. From a young age, she was drawn to the mechanics of speed, not just as a spectator, but as a hands-on builder and driver. Unlike most children, who might have been content with riding bicycles or playing with toy cars, Jessi was fascinated with what made things move. She wanted to understand machines, how they worked, how they could be improved, and most importantly, how fast they could go. Her love for mechanics wasn't just a passing phase, it was in her blood. Her father was a mechanical engineer, and under his guidance, she learned how to work with tools, take apart engines, and modify vehicles. It wasn't just about fixing cars. It was about transforming them, pushing the boundaries of what they could do. By the time she was a teenager, she wasn't just dreaming about fast cars. She was working on them, building them, and preparing for a future that would blend creativity, engineering, and raw horsepower. But it wasn't always easy. As a young woman breaking into a traditionally male-dominated field, Jessi faced skepticism and resistance. The world of motorsports and automotive engineering wasn't exactly welcoming to women, and she knew she would have to work twice as hard to earn her place. However, if there was one thing Jessi never did, it was back down from a challenge. Determined to turn her passion into a career, she enrolled at WyoTech, a prestigious technical school in Wyoming that specialized in automotive and diesel technology, collision repair, and high-performance fabrication. Unlike traditional universities, WyoTech was a hands-on, high-intensity training ground for serious automotive enthusiasts, exactly the kind of environment Jessi thrived in. Her time at WyoTech proved to be a launching pad for her career in more ways than one. She wasn't just learning, she was teaching others. Her technical expertise, combined with her natural charisma and confidence, caught the attention of industry professionals, and soon she was being offered opportunities that most mechanics could only dream of. After graduation, Jessi's skills and magnetic personality led her into the world of automotive television. Her big break came when she landed a role on Overhaulin', a reality TV show that featured teams of expert mechanics restoring and transforming classic cars. Working alongside some of the biggest names in the industry, Jessi quickly proved she wasn't just a TV personality, she was the real deal. Her success in Overhaulin' opened doors to even bigger opportunities. She became a co-host on Extreme 4x4, one of the most popular shows in the off-road and performance vehicle world. But her television career was only part of the story. Jessi wasn't just content to talk about fast cars, she wanted to drive them. She was determined to prove herself as a serious racer, and she did exactly that. Jessi made a name for herself in some of the most grueling and dangerous racing events in the world. She competed in the Baja 1000, one of the most brutal off-road endurance races, where drivers must navigate treacherous desert terrain, mechanical failures, and exhaustion over a grueling 1,000-mile course. She tackled King of the Hammers, a race so challenging it's often called the toughest one-day off-road race on the planet. These weren't just casual races, they were brutal tests of endurance, skill, and mechanical ingenuity. And yet, Jessi excelled, proving time and again that she belonged at the highest level of competition. However, it was in land speed racing that Jessi would truly cement her legacy. In 2013, she made history by setting the four-wheel land speed record, reaching a staggering 398 miles per hour in the North American Eagle Supersonic Speed Challenger, a vehicle unlike anything else on Earth. Originally a retired fighter jet, the North American Eagle had been transformed into a 52,000 horsepower, jet engine-powered land rocket. It was a missile on wheels. That record was just the beginning. Jessi wasn't done yet. She had one final goal, one last mountain to climb. Jessi knew the risks. Land speed racing isn't like other forms of motorsports. The speeds are astronomical, the margin for error non-existent, and the consequences of failure catastrophic. Unlike traditional race cars, which are built for cornering and control, land speed vehicles are designed for one thing: sheer velocity. At speeds exceeding 500 miles per hour, even the smallest failure, a single loose bolt, a gust of wind, or a mechanical malfunction could spell disaster. And yet, that was exactly what called to Jessi. She had already made history, but she wasn't satisfied. There was one final record left to break: the official women's land speed record, set in 1976 by Kitty O'Neill at 512 miles per hour in a three-wheeled vehicle. Jessi wanted to shatter that record, to etch her name in the books as the fastest woman to ever drive on four wheels. She knew the dangers, she understood the risks, and still, she pushed forward. In the days leading up to her final run, Jessi's words took on an almost prophetic tone. It may seem a little crazy to walk directly into the line of fire. Those who are willing are those who achieve great things. She was ready. On August 27, 2019, in the Alvord Desert, she strapped into the North American Eagle for what would be her final ride. The engines roared. The ground trembled. Jessi Combs was about to make history. But in mere moments, everything would go terribly, tragically wrong. On August 27, 2019, the vast and desolate Alvord Desert in southeastern Oregon stood silent, save for the whispering wind rolling across the cracked, sun-baked earth. It was a place of solitude and history, a location that had long served as a proving ground for those who dared to chase speed records. That day, it would bear witness to Jessi Combs' final attempt to etch her name in history. The North American Eagle, a 56-foot-long, jet-powered land speed vehicle, loomed at the starting point. This was not just a car, it was a modified Lockheed F-104 Starfighter, a Cold War-era supersonic jet repurposed into a land speed machine. With its 52,000 horsepower General Electric J79 jet engine, the vehicle was theoretically capable of surpassing the speed of sound on land. It was a machine built for one purpose: to go as fast as physics would allow. Jessi had spent years preparing for this moment. She'd already broken records and had already proven herself in some of the most grueling races on the planet. But this wasn't just another record. This was the record. The one that would cement her as the fastest woman on Earth. She knew the risks. She had acknowledged them time and again. In a 2018 interview, she had said, "People are constantly asking me, why are you doing this? What's the point? The point is to push the limits. The point is to inspire. The point is to show that anything is possible if you're willing to chase it." That morning, as she prepared for what would be her final run, the energy around the team was electric. They'd already conducted test runs over the previous days, tweaking the vehicle, analyzing the data, making sure everything was as perfect as it could be. They knew that one small mechanical failure, one miscalculation, one unpredictable factor could turn the attempt deadly. Yet, there was no hesitation in Jessi's demeanor. She was focused, determined, and ready. She climbed into the cockpit, a cramped space barely large enough to accommodate her. She was encased in layers of fire-resistant gear, strapped tightly into a 5-point harness, and surrounded by state-of-the-art safety equipment designed to withstand catastrophic forces. The countdown began. The General Electric J79 engine ignited, sending a deafening roar across the barren landscape. The thrust was instantaneous, and within seconds, the North American Eagle was no longer a car, but a missile streaking across the Alvord Desert. The first pass was flawless. Jessi blasted across the desert floor, her speed climbing past 400 miles per hour, then 450, then 500. The ground blurred beneath her as she reached speeds few human beings had ever experienced on land. The team watched the telemetry data as her speed approached the mark she'd been chasing, the elusive women's land speed record of 512.7 miles per hour. And then, in that moment, she did it. Jessi Combs became the fastest woman on Earth. Seconds later, everything went wrong. Just after completing her high-speed run, disaster struck. At 512.7 miles per hour, something catastrophic happened. According to the official investigation report later released by the Harney County Sheriff's Office, the cause of the crash was a front wheel failure due to high-speed impact with debris on the desert floor. The wheels of the North American Eagle were not traditional rubber tires, they were solid aluminum, designed to handle the intense speeds and forces exerted on them. But even metal has its limits. At those speeds, even a tiny imperfection, a microscopic crack, or an unseen flaw in the terrain can become lethal. The front left wheel failed, and when it did, the entire vehicle became uncontrollable. Jessi had no time to react. When a car traveling at highway speeds has a tire blowout, the driver has seconds to regain control. But at over 500 miles per hour, there's no recovery. The vehicle became unstable, veering, twisting, losing control at an unfathomable velocity. The team watching from a safe distance saw the streak of motion become a blur, then a violent tumble of debris and dust. The North American Eagle disintegrated. Jessi Combs, the fearless racer, builder and adventurer, was gone. She was 39 years old. The crash site was a scene of devastation. Emergency crews rushed to the wreckage, but there was nothing that could be done. The violent forces of the crash were beyond survivable. Jessi had perished on impact. In the following months, investigators combed through every detail of the crash, piecing together what had gone wrong. The final report confirmed the mechanical failure of the front wheel as the primary cause. At the extreme speeds Jessi was traveling, even the smallest failure was catastrophic. But there was no doubt, Jessi had accomplished what she had set out to do. Months later, the Guinness World Records officially recognized Jessi Combs' final speed as 522.783 miles per hour, making her the fastest woman on Earth posthumously. Jessi Combs' death was a tragic loss, but her legacy did not end that day in the Alvord Desert. She left behind a blueprint for future generations, a roadmap of courage, perseverance, and an unrelenting drive to push boundaries. She wasn't just a racer, she was an inspiration. Following her passing, the Jessi Combs Foundation was established, dedicated to supporting women in the automotive and industrial fields, a cause that had been close to her heart. The foundation provides scholarships, mentorship, and resources to help more women break into careers in engineering, motorsports, and fabrication. Her closest friends and family, including fellow racers and builders, continue to honor her memory by carrying forward her mission to empower, to inspire, and to never let fear stand in the way of greatness. Jessi Combs lived fearlessly, chasing the impossible until the very end, and in doing so, she became immortal.